Fine time.
Hello, demon people. Is that good? It's your boy Dre. Demon people?
Wait a second, demon people? That's a little different from the norm. What's up with that?
I don't know. Do demons? Of course demons party. What am I saying? Hello, partying demon people. It's your boy Dre, and as you just heard, who's back again? It's Vin.
His curmudgeon in crime, because when spray-based shit lurks near, we curmudgeons in crime appear.
Yes, we have appeared to play Gal Guardian's Demon Purge. Typically on a post-game show, we don't usually do a lot of explaining about the game because the point of a post-game show is that we're assuming the audience has played the game. However, in this case, we're going to assume nobody has played this game because it's Gal Guardian's Demon Purge. So
that is a safe assumption. And as a bit of an aside, I think the game has like 400 followers on Twitch, which is like not much.
Yeah, I don't really have a brain for that, but like for those kind of numbers, but yeah, I mean, considering it's Twitch and people are liable to watch anything, that doesn't seem like fuck all. So
you can fill an auditorium with that many people. They may or may not party, but
you could have a small Gal Guardians convention in that auditorium. Okay, so just with that said, just a little bit of information, I guess, up front. This is a 2D action game, indie game, if you will, as made by Inti Creates. And because of such, this is a spin-off of Galgun Double Piece. And if you don't know what Galgun is, go ahead and Google it, but God help you. Just be warned.
Yeah, seriously, yeah, that's really the best way of putting it. And like, we're a bunch of Inti Creates nuts. We pretty much played like the vast majority of their catalog, but honestly, I haven't really played a Galgun game, so that should probably say something in itself.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm interested, but I'm just that kind of guy. But we'll Galgun someday. I am sure. Yeah, this is a spinoff of Galgun Double Piece. This is released worldwide this year. Late winter, February 23rd. Originally, this game was called Grim Guardians Demon Purge when it came out and when it was announced, fall 22.
Yeah.
The name was changed to Gal Guardians in all English-speaking territories. I want to say like a month after it came out, maybe like 2 months.
Yeah, it was about a month or two after the game came out. So Inti Creates actually tweeted a press release saying that there was a copyright claim from the owners of the Grimguard trademark. And as a result, the game was delisted from Xbox, PSN, and the eShop. And it took a while to be relisted, like I'd say like a week or two, which was kind of wild. I think Steam was like a pretty seamless like change, but as it turns out, there was this game called Grimguard Tactics, which is like a mobile game, and it was seemingly development from like 2020 and was just released actually last month. But I mean, to be entirely frank, would anyone really have conflated like Grimguard Tactics with that game? I mean, come on.
Yeah, Grim Guardians, Grimguard Tactics, like especially, I mean, they're not spelled the same way. Like Grimguard is kind of like an intercaps, right? And like Gal Guardians is like 2 words. Besides that, Grim Guardians, I was thinking Grim Grimoire, like the Vanillaware game.
Oh,
myself.
I like that one. Actually, to be entirely honest with you, when I was chatting about like Grim Guardians with some people, I think I accidentally typed Grim Grimoire more than once.
Oh man, yeah. But anyway, so now it's Gal Guardians, but it probably should have been called that from the jump, right? Like, I mean, it's a Galgun spinoff. Just call it Gal Guardians. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the wild part about all of this, because so when the game was like first announced, like I had no knowledge of this connection, right? So really, ultimately, I just thought Inti Creates was like making yet another Gothic-inspired like platformer with some anime in there and some Castlevania influence here and there. But soon after, like, I read a lot of comments on the YouTubes where people were like, yo, dog, these characters are from Galga. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, come on.
I mean, look, why not? I mean, they do like to reuse their characters in weird, like, 2D platformers. We've all played the Mighty Gunvolt, or I guess on PlayStation, they're Gal Gunvolt games.
Oh, I forgot about that shit.
Yeah, so I mean, like, and then Mighty Gunvolt Burst, very early in the Switch's life, I think we played that.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, I guess we can just tackle this game however we feel like. Where do you even want to begin with this game? I mean, you pick a starting point.
This game's so character driven that I feel like that's a good starting point. And that is like, the game has like two characters that, like, two sisters you switch between, right? So it's kind of got like this tag team-esque sort of thing going on. And if you really think about it, it's really just cribbing from other games, right? It's like, whether it's like, pick your poison, Castlevania 3, or like Portrait of Ruin, Curse of the Moon, you pick your poison, right? But that's kind of the driving thing. Like, one sister's got long range, the other sister's short. And I actually really like playing these characters. I don't know about you, but the only weird part is that, like, the melee sister, Maya, she can't take, like, any hits.
She has no health. Even when you get the HP ups later, it's like, I mean, come on. Now, I wrote something down in my personal notes about how the movesets felt a little limiting or short, considering that this wasn't going for Curse of the Moon. It wasn't going for, like, 80s Castlevania, right?
No.
It felt like you should have had a little more mobility options or etc. However, once you do the first loop of the game, and then some random angel is like, oh, by the way, here's the rest of your moveset now. It's like, well, fuck, I could have just had that the whole time.
It's like, why did you make me play the game in a GIMP state, man? Like, I could have actually explored stuff, because, like, the game sort of lets you explore things. It's like, here's a sub-weapon that's like a crane platform, so, like, it's like teasing a dangling carrot. It's like, oh, you kind of explore, and then all of a sudden it's like, yo, dog, now you can double jump? Like, come on, man, it's, like, messed up.
That thing is so unsatisfying. The paper crane, you barely get off the ground with that. So it's like, come on,
it's weird,
man.
though, because, like, you can kind of sort of barely not make jumps with it, right? And it's like, well, why did you, like, make me even, like, have this in the first place? You could have,
I don't want to work that hard to, like, get up on it. Just give me a double jump, goddammit. it. That's the satisfying thing. It's not satisfying to use, like, a paper crane to barely get off the ground, to barely maybe get on this other platform. Like, fuck off. Like,
yeah, and that's, like, the biggest thing, because, like, ultimately, like, unlocking movesets halfway through a run is just weird. That's, like, super bizarre. And, like, and while ultimately, like, I still like playing these characters, I just feel like maybe not have a second loop. I don't know. That's weird. There's no hub for the first, like, part half of the game. You're just playing through the levels in a linear sort of order, and then all of a sudden it's like, here, yo, dog, I heard you like a hub, and, like, yo, dog, here's a gymnasium so you talk to all the randos you rescued. I'm like, why did you introduce a hub, like, halfway through the run?
I don't understand. It should have just been a Mega Man game from the outset. You should have just had, here's your hub, and then here's your 5 or 6 levels that you can choose to get Dracula's perverted relics or whatever. You know, like, what did you have to collect? Panties? A swimsuit?
Yeah, panties. Yeah, you get, like, a magazine.
Dirty magazine, yeah.
And you get, I think it's a Pheromone Z bottle, which is like a energy bottle or, like, whatever. And I'm like, speaking of which, like when you're about to get this stupid bottle, one of the sisters is all like, Chiru said she left her Pheromone Z on this floor. And then the other sister says, it's a legendary super drink that turbo boosts your pheromone power? And I was already scratching my head, and then all of a sudden they're like, a forbidden tonic that removes any semblance of balance, truly game-breaking content, and I'm like, oh my god, like, what are we reading, man?
I feel like that's something in Galgun that they're not allowed to fully explain in a teen-rated game. Which is what I feel like is happening here.
But what actually happened in my case, I felt like I was out on the joke. I'm like, what is going on in this game? Like, I feel like I'm missing some context. Like, what is going on?
They're not allowed to say it, so. I guess let's talk level design real quick. So, like, you would think on first glance this is like an action adventure game, especially since it's like very Castlevania, like you're whipping or not whipping, you're shooting and slashing light sources for items and shit like that, right? Like Castlevania. It makes you think it's that kind of game, but it's really not, because like it's not a large interconnected map. It is a level by level affair, but these levels are very sprawling. What would you liken this to? Is this like, I guess on first blush, you might say Rondo of Blood, but I think my comp is like Shovel Knight.
Yeah, there's elements of Shovel Knight, though. Like, my go-to was consistently Rondo, just because like there's wholly like separate paths. Or are there? Because sometimes, like, there's these random ass, like, doors that prevent you from accessing stuff. So I'm like, okay, I guess I can't really go that way, which I thought was, like, really, like, not organically integrated. Because sometimes, like, on the second loop, it's like, oh, this white door that was, like, blocking your progress before, it's just gonna open up all of a sudden. And I'm like, then why did you have the door at the first? It's like, it felt very shoehorned, right?
I think
like, I don't know.
Pervert Boy said he can open those doors. I think he specifically said that.
I understand that. I just kind of feel like it's a bit forced, I guess. Like, you better, like, it's time to explore this on the second shot. I don't know. I feel like a better way of doing it might have been to, like, have your abilities do it rather than, like, opening up a door all of a sudden. I just didn't like the doors. Like, there's too, like, artificial to me. I don't know about you, but...
But that did happen as well. There's also ability doors.
There are ability doors as well, yeah. I think maybe just the visual for me personally was like maybe a little, I don't know, it's not like Metroid where you use a missiles like open so and so a thing. It's just like a branching path. So I mean, like,
but see, that's it. These aren't branching paths. Everything just funnels you towards the same boss. It's not like Rondo where you can get two different outcomes in any given level.
That is true, yeah.
You know, so that's why my comp is like Shovel Knight, where it's like you can kind of explore this thing, but eventually you're going to get to this boss and you're going to fight it. This one boss.
It is true they converge. I guess that would be the closest thing that I could think of. But it's just weird though, because I mean, some of the pre-release footage, it sort of felt like a little action adventure-y, but it's very much not, right? Because it's all but a linear game. It just has like some optional doodads that you can like find along the way, right?
This sort of style of level design combined with the rather stunted movesets until Angel Lady says you can have the rest of your moveset for no particular reason other than the game needs to happen, I guess, is the worst part of the game. Overall, obviously, I think we both really like this game. I just felt like structurally that was strange, but something I could get over.
I think in general speaking, the levels are like fun to traverse. Though, like, honestly, some things might have been a little too on the nose with like the Castlevania-ness of it, because there's a straight up like clock tower with gears.
There is a clock tower. I mean, like, look, there's a watery underpassage, right?
Oh my god. Yeah, the underpass.
I did like the theming in this game, though. I did like that watery underpassage. There's a ghost ship in the background that shoots cannonballs at you, and then, like, the boss itself is, like, this ghosty, like, apparition thing. I thought that was, like, nice theming.
I thought the theming was really cool, and ultimately it's all under the umbrella of this messed up school, right? So presumably, like, some of these things were part of the school. I think they might actually say, like, oh, this might be part of the pool or something like that. I'm like, really?
Yeah, that did happen. Oh, there's even, like, an evil garden. Right? Doesn't Aria of Sorrow, I think, have a nasty garden or something?
I'm pretty sure. I'm almost positive it does. Yeah. I'm a little shaky on the details, but I did think it was executed well. Like, there's a lot of background details. It's actually pretty lush. Even got I think a blood drinking vines or something, or pitcher plants or something.
The only thing I didn't like about the graphics is that the character sprites are rather like Game Boy Advance-y, but then the environments are almost kind of PS2-ish. It's a bit of a mismatch for me. It's something I got used to, but it definitely, when I first started the game, I was like, I don't know, but I got used to it, I guess.
I think they animate fine, but I think one thing that kind of bugs me personally is that, like, their faces just have, like, single pixels sometimes. It's like they got pixel eyes, and I'm like, I feel like other Inti Creates games typically have more, like, detailed facial sprite, or facial, how should I put this, more detailed, like facial information, right? Facial expressions, I got it. But
you did it, everybody.
I did it. But here's just like, oh, here's your dots, and I'm just like, I feel like that's a little, I don't know.
It's a mismatch. It's a mismatch, but it's not unrecoverable. So here's something I really liked about Gal Guardians, and it's something they didn't do. They didn't do the bullshitty Inti Creates ranking system bullshit that I can't stand. So for anyone who doesn't know, Inti Creates, it typically, probably, what are the most known Inti Creates games? Mega Man Zero, Mega Man ZX, like those. You know how, if you've ever played one of those, folks, like at the end of the level, they give you like some ranking and then they give you some sort of points, and it's like, well, that seems arbitrary. Why do I even care about this? And then you just go along your life not caring about it. There, a lot of other Inti Creates games also do this. Gal Guardians does not, and I'm really glad it doesn't, because typically they involve like MLG bullshit to get a good rank. Oh, don't use any items, or don't get hit at all, or whatever, or do it in this amount of like extraordinary short amount of time, like I'm a speedrunner, and it's like, I don't want to do any of this.
Oftentimes you have to do all of it at the same time. It's like, you took damage, like, well, get wrecked, nerd.
Yeah.
And like, it is true. I did appreciate that, and I don't play gunvolt games for score play personally, because like, you better damn well not get hit, and you better damn well like full chain like the whole stage or some shit like that, right? And I'm like, I don't really particularly feel like it.
And that's the problem in like gunvolt games, because it's not only they rely so heavily on that ranking system, presuming you give a fuck, but also a lot of the items and stuff you get is about that ranking system. Oh, here's something to extend your combo meter, or here's something to, you know, if you get hit, you can like not actually take damage a couple times, so it doesn't affect your rank. And then it's like, well, fuck off. How about like, how about I get cool items that I can like actually do cool stuff in the game with, instead of like MLG bullshit? Like, I don't care. You know, and that's one of the many reasons I don't care for Gunvolt. Gal Guardians doesn't do any of that shit, as I said, so I'm glad.
Yeah, I actually really appreciate how like the items are relatively constrained, though, again, as said before, there are optional people that you can rescue, but you don't really have to like do that. But there's a weird part around like the halfway mark, like starting with your second run, where like you can talk to the randos in your base and get like these upgrade items, but you could actually very easily just skip over that, right? If you don't talk to them, like,
yeah, I mean, like, I didn't even know that was a thing, and how would I? Like, oh, if you want to upgrade your weapons, find me that, or like they should have actually told you about this, like, strictly. And eventually, I did upgrade my rocket launcher, because that was pretty invaluable against the last boss or so. But I mean, like, come on, man! Like, at least give me don't hide weapon upgrades from us. I mean, it's not hidden, but like, come on.
But you know, the weird part about it is that the first loop of the game doesn't even have anything like that, right? So why would you expect it?
You wouldn't expect it.
you didn't talk to your freaking schoolgirl friends, like,
no. I didn't go back between every level and talk to all my hoes in between like every every shit. Okay, can we talk about bosses real quick? Specifically, the first boss. I mean, it's a big bat. I mean, come on. I understand they're doing the Castlevania thing, but they really did the big bat. Like,
I guess it also the funny part is you have like a diagonally firing like knife too on top of that, so it's just kind of like
yeah, but also, do you like how it has weird voice? I don't know if you want to call it voice acting, but like when it dive bombs at you, it's like or something like that. It has like a weird voice. It's like, why does it sound that way? I mean, you're a bat. What's wrong with you?
It's a bat in a transformed school castle thing, so it's different from ordinary giant bats.
Well, I mean, like, I could understand if the boss, like, he actually spoke to you before you started fighting it. It would make sense for it to have that kind of, like, humanish kind of goofy voice, but it doesn't say anything.
It doesn't say anything, but so the weird part about this is that there are some bosses that do like have quips though. Like there's a dude in a library that kind of like talks some smack at me. If I think that's what happened, and like the main villain kind of has some like says some trash talk involving hell.
She has a bunch of like hell and devil puns. That's her thing. I'll send you to hell. We're gonna have a hell of a time, etc. It's just all of them, just rapid fire, just happening.
Yeah.
But I think the best one and this ties in to what I want to say next. Inti Creates games are well known for boss revenge mechanics.
Yep.
And Gal Guardians takes it to an art form not seen before. Like, do they just try to top each other in the office? Like, okay, fuck you. I saw what you did on Blaster Master 03. Now on Gal Guardians here, I'm gonna like, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like they're trying to like top the last game all the time.
Yeah, and they really are. There's like a full screen explosion. I think there's a chandelier that falls like on your head or can fall on your head. I'm like, what?
What about the one where like I think it's the statue lady where you have to like do some climbing up some platforms as like the spikes rise.
Yeah.
And then you have to kill her or something. But I think the guy in the library you're talking about, he was like, I will not perish alone before he like dive bombs you or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like,
okay, I guess. Like, you do you, but I mean, I'm fairly sure we beat you, but you do you.
This is kind of random, but you know how you have to use the umbrella to like ride those columns of light upwards? Yeah. Why did some of them have Mega Man spikes to fuck you? It was weird.
My god.
They were like spike balls though. It was weird. They looked like Mega Man spikes.
I'm sure that was somewhat intentional.
I mean, you don't die instantly like Mega Man, but I mean, it is.
Oh my god, that would have been pretty bad, honestly. But the spikes in general were relatively forgiving, fortunately. But speaking of spikes, I thought, as a bit of an aside, I thought it was pretty weird that you have like a sub weapon to like clear them, but it's like this walking doll thing, and I'm like, I guess that's kind of different, maybe, but I'm like, I don't really know, like, why a doll? Like, it's so weird.
It is strange. I don't know why. Yeah, and it has like a goofy ass voice. It's like, I'll protect you, Maya, or whatever. Whenever it gets hit by something that protects you from, and it's like, I'll go forward for you, Maya. And then like when it explodes, it's like, Maya.
I'm like, why is it screaming, man?
It's so weird. It's just a goofy voice, like, I'll protect you. It's so weird. Why does it talk, though? It's a voodoo doll. Are voodoo dolls supposed to talk? Like, I don't...
Look, man, these demon hunting sisters are really talented, so maybe that's part of their kit.
I don't want a voodoo doll unless it can talk. Like,
it's a talent, man. You have to cultivate that talent.
Okay, as soon as I saw it, and you're gonna hate me for saying this because you're gonna just say fuck you. I know it. The snake enemies, those are straight up a triclide from Mario 2, right? Like the three-headed, like
son of a bitch.
Like they are. They're the exact same like dimension, right?
Oh god, triclides. Yeah,
they're triclides.
Yes, I agree, yeah.
Hear how begrudging that was, folks? Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he doesn't even want to say it.
I mean, I agree, I guess. Yeah, oh my god.
A stupid thing I noticed, because I am a a very mediocre Japanese student is that the big villain, there's Corona, and then she turns into adult Corona. But the word for adult in Japanese is otona. Otona Corona. It rhymes. They thought they were funny.
When you told me this, it's like, oh, come on, man. They were so proud of themselves when they came up with that. I mean, you know they're like pumping their fists, man.
Yeah, they really thought. Now, obviously, you can't have a pun equivalent like that in English, but I mean, like, I noticed. Trust me.
Oh my god. How did you actually find out? Did you just like look it up or like
I mean, I know the word for adult is otona. I don't have to look that up. God. I mean, I'm sure I can't imagine she's not called the same thing in Japanese. I mean, she may not be, but I mean, I can't imagine she's not.
It's gotta be.
Speaking of adult Corona, which, you know, the last boss, one of your What is Hodai anyway? He's not. I mean, is he just like one of the girl's boyfriends, or like her crush or something? Like what is Crush, that guy?
I assume Crush because I mean I don't know the context not having played these. So I mean like I assume like Crush because like the younger sister Maya like teases like Shinobu about it or whatever, right? So she's like, no, I'm not in love with this guy or like whatever. But I'm like,
she also refers to him with an honorific. So like I don't know, she must be into him somehow. Anyway, there's like an evil version at the end where he's like, oh god, the dialogue. Basically, I don't know how else to say this, folks. He's licking the last boss's feet, and he's like, and the dialogue is like, who am I? I'm a worthless piece of trash whose only pleasure in life is to lick Lady Corona's delicious feet. And it's like, oh my god, this is like,
whoa, dude, whoa, it's like going off the rails because like the first half of the game is nothing like this, and all of a sudden this second half, I don't know what's going on, man. When I saw that, I lost my shit,
dude. It's like it's crazy, and of course, like when you have to fight him when his life bar comes up, and you know they always have a quip. His is, I'm gonna lick ya.
which I feel like is something I've like jokingly said like while playing like multiplayer games or something, but I'm gonna get you, but like actually hearing it in this game, like what is this?
We've said that because of Lickitung, because you're like, who the hell would be scared of a Lickitung?
Yeah, I'm gonna lick you.
Like, I'm gonna lick you, bitch. Like,
that's right.
And he dives after you, and he's like, feetsies, and he's like hella into your feet, licky. Sometimes when he like dives, and it's like, oh my god, dude.
He's so annoying because he's super low to the ground too, so he dodges most of your shots. I'm like, god damn it.
He's literally diving after your feet, I guess, is like the idea. I just can't believe this is like in a game. This is why I think we were talking about this a little bit before we recorded. I can't believe this game got away with a teen, but like honestly, like I don't know. There's kind of a lot of blood too. Like the blood effects are actually cool. That's not just the blood sprays. They actually kind of splat on the background too. I mean, it's not like super graphic. It's just like, you know, old Mortal Kombat shit. But like, back in the day, this would have got you a mature.
Easy. Oh yeah. Oh, certainly. I just think like maybe standards have changed and maybe it's not like the highest fidelity violence or whatever. Because I mean, you're not seeing like bones or like organs and stuff like that, but at the same time, like there is a big splash on these walls when you kill stuff, right? And we also sort of guessed that perhaps the dialogue doesn't have like the most profanity in it. Some of these like kind of perverted things, I was a bit like weirded out in some ways because there's a line when you're rematching the plant boss where the sisters go, there it is, tentacles ahead. I was like, what? And then the other sister goes, you're a vulgar, tights-collecting monster, an enemy to all women? And I'm like, what is this shit?
Yeah, well, I mean, they made a couple of tentacle jokes the first time around, but the second time around, they went like whole hog with it. So it's like, man, okay. I mean, look, but that's Galgun humor, right? They just can't do too much because Galgun is rated like extra mature, right? So like this, they're trying to do as much as that Galgun humor as they can without like, yeah. Going to the M-rated place, but yeah, they did as much as they could.
It is funny.
I think that's all I got for game notes. If you want to move on to that, if you got anything else, go ahead.
Oh, I mean, I think that pretty much covers the bases, honestly.
Okay, well, I kind of want to ask you this about Inti Creates. This is the first game they've made in a long time that I've really liked, and I think you know me. I don't like Gunvolt.
Yeah.
I just don't care for that series. I don't really like the spinoff Luminous something or other. It's fine. It's better than Gunvolt, but it's still not totally my jam.
Luminous something X.
By the way, Shinobu, you have to manually reload her gun. Gee, I wonder where they got that from.
It's the same double tap down as Copen's like bullets.
Oh, sorry. Before we talk about that, let's talk music real quick. And it's kind of fitting that I forgot about it because, you know. So here's how I feel about the music, and you can tell me if you agree or disagree. I feel like it's good, but really understated. Like, from a Castlevania-like, you would expect Castlevania-ish music. You would expect something more like what Ippo Yamada did for Curse of the Moon. Ippo Yamada, by the way, is a guy who does like all Inti Creates music. If he doesn't compose it all himself, he is definitely like the lead guy. So all Inti Creates music comes from the same guy.
Yeah, and those songs are bangers. Yeah,
right. Oh, I mean, he's one of between us. He's one of our favorite composers. I don't dislike the music in Gal Guardians. I don't. It just feels inappropriately arranged. It feels like a band. It feels like a low-key jazz band covering Castlevania songs, which is not necessarily what you want from this. It's not 90s chill, and it's not full-on jazz either, which I would have probably appreciated. It's just relaxed. It doesn't get hype or loud. Think about this. When you beat a boss, it just has that. I mean, it's just like, it's so morose. Like, it's like, it doesn't feel like I beat anything. It's kind of downbeat.
Yeah, I think like downbeat and like not hype are the best ways to put it. Cause like, I actually admittedly, I don't dislike this music either, but I sure have a hell of a lot of difficulty of remembering a lot of these songs. Like, even like shortly before the pod here, like I had to remind myself about some of these things. And it's just like, it's not as poignant as like other Inti Creates stuff, right? And like, that's one of their strengths. So, I mean, like, it's kind of bizarre because, I mean, I still listen to like the Curse of the Moon soundtrack even now, but in terms of this, like,
I like Curse of the Moon, and even though I don't like Curse of the Moon 2, I definitely like the music.
Yeah, the music is fine in that one.
And we love the Blaster Master Zero trilogy. The music in those are fucking incredible, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened here. It feels like this is like too horror. It almost feels like Resident Evil-ish. If this were like a darker, like more horror themed, like mature rated game, you know what I mean? If they were really pushing the horror angle, I would understand this kind of music, but they're not. So
it's the sort of music that belongs in a more ambient sort of game, but I mean, it's not really that kind of experience necessarily. So, but it is disconnected. And I just wish it were more poignant. It's just because of like, honestly, like I just have a lot of difficulty remembering the like, audioscape of this game. But
yeah, it's not. It's definitely not my favorite. You know what? It's like, okay, we both really like another Inti Creates game, Dragon Mark for Death. And I think the music in that game is excellent. It's understated as well. It's not like super hype, but it's very fitting for the game. And it's really great compositionally. I feel like Gal Guardians misses the mark a bit. It's not bad music. I just don't think it's like that great.
Yeah, I agree with that. I can agree. I think that's a fair thing to say.
So anyway, as I was saying before, I'm not a fan of Gunvolt. I kind of want them to move away from Gunvolt. But before I ask you about that, I want to pose, is Inti Creates just going to keep doing this? Are they just going to keep making these like little 2D platformers that are obviously fairly cheap to make and kind of light on content, but short, which is fine. That's not a bad thing, by the way. Do you care if they just kind of just keep doing this?
I don't personally care just because I feel like that's where they excel, right? But what I think they're going to keep doing is playing around with like the setting or like the the whatever franchise they're making something about, I feel like they're just gonna like keep throwing things at the wall and like messing around with us, right? I think that's what's going to happen, because feel like they've kind of got a lot of mileage out of Blaster Master Zero and Gunvolt, so I can't really imagine them like revisiting those anytime soon. So I feel like they're just going to keep trucking along. I mean, it's hard to anticipate like what's down the pipeline, but like.
But do you think that means we're over Gunvolt? Do you think that's done, or do you want it to be done? I do, obviously, but
yeah, I personally I would be fine with it if it's done. I not to get too much into the weeds, but Gunvolt 3 was very divisive with a lot of the fan base, right? Because people are like, well, it plays well, but this plot is like maybe not quite as memorable, to put it lightly, right? So I feel like they might have already been pushing things with that as it was. So I don't think they really need Gunvolt like as like a tentpole anymore. I feel like they could just like do what they want, and I feel like that's what they should do. I think it'd be perfectly fine if they don't make a Gunvolt again. That might be slightly blasphemous to some people, but I just think like, yeah, they should just keep experimenting. I don't think they need to do that anymore.
I agree. And I get that stuff like Dragon Mark for Death, or like maybe some of the other games don't sell the way like other things do. At the same time, I mean, they could find another niche. I mean, like, they can do another Blaster Master Zero trilogy. Not literally Blaster Master, but, like, something else. I understand that was, like, an existing IP, but that had, notoriety. At the same time, go ask how many people bought Blaster Master Blasting Again or something like that, right? Like, I did, because I'm crazy. That's actually not a bad game, but that's another topic.
Yeah, I've heard it's okay. Yeah, I've heard it's pretty good.
So... okay, let's wrap up. Would you recommend this game? Would you recommend Gal Guardians in general purpose, Vin?
It's sort of a loaded question, because I think in the grand scheme of things, I would say yes, so long as you're willing to put up with some shenanigans, right? And it's like, if you're into that kind of humor, I think it's going to be a pretty fun like game, but I think in general speaking, that's like the caveat, right? Like it's good, but ...
I don't think there needs to be much caveat. If you like 2D platformers and this is on sale, I don't see why anyone shouldn't play this. Personally,
sure, yeah, I can see that.
I don't think there needs to be a whole lot of. I mean, unless you are so super offended by like collecting panties or something like that, in which case, like, I can't imagine you're listening to Fine Time if you are. But I mean, who knows, right? But yeah, I would recommend this to just about anybody who likes that indie style 2D platforming, and Inti Creates does it right. I am very hard on indie games. I am, and Inti Creates is what can you say? They're the best.
Yeah, the game handles well. It's definitely well built, and even though it has some weird stuff in between, but in general speaking, like, I feel like anybody likes platformers would appreciate this, right? So,
Okay, thanks for joining me for the Gal and the Guardians. Join us on Twitter. I'm not going to call it X, at Fine Time Podcast. Join us there. Check the description of this podcast to see our other socials on other social media that's not Twitter. See you next time. Bye.
Fine Time.